everybody. Another bus video here. I'm going to give you an update on what's been going on here in the electrical rack because we have been very busy. In fact, a lot of this is done. We have some wire management to do, but a lot of this is done. Before we get to that though, if you live in the area, check your calendar. Saturday, May 31st. Go just check it. If you can come out to the farm, be a huge help. May 31st, rain or shine, I'm hoping to get at least a half a dozen folks out here with their gloves on, and we are going to put 2 gigantic sheets of aluminum on the side of the bus, one on each side to cover all those empty window holes. It's going to take a bunch of folks because that sheet of aluminum is 12 feet long. It's not that heavy. It's 50 pounds for each sheet, which if you've got 4 people on it, that's not too bad. We'll need somebody to be inside the bus, to be drilling some holes, to put pilot holes in so that we can pop in rivets real quickly and get enough rivets up there that people can let go of the sheets. But I'd love to see a whole bunch of folks out here. Invite your friends if you'd like. Just let me know if you're coming so that I can make sure that I get enough pizza. I'm thinking 10 o'clock in the morning. And if we do it right, we get those sheets up, we eat some pizza, and by lunchtime, you're on your way. You're free to go. It would make a huge difference in my ability to keep making progress on the bus. So check your calendars, May 31st, 10 o'clock in the morning. And if you need some help figuring out where the bus is, drop me a note. I'll help you out. Electrical panel, dun dun dun. So a lot of stuff has happened on here, and I'll step through it pretty quickly. But I want you to know that this is work that this isn't something I did by myself, not even close. I have 2 friends who are both named John. They don't spell their name the same, but they sound the same. And the 2 Johns and I got together and worked together to get a bunch of this done. Now, I will say that John C., he really helped with some of the heavy mechanical work and getting some of these things bolted in. And John R., he's super handy with electrical. He's an amateur radio operator, knows his stuff. And we worked together to make sure a lot of this cabling was done correctly. And in fact, I'll try to get a picture of this so you can see the quality of the connections that we're getting on this gear. I'm really happy with it. It is really professionally done. And it's going to be one of those situations where this will get installed in the bus and I won't think about it again. It'll just work. It'll just function. All top-notch gear, and the folks at Explorist Life are the ones who actually did the base design for this, and they are the ones I purchased all the gear from. I'll put a link in the description of the video. I will say it's not cheap. It's not cheap, and certainly if you went to AliExpress or Temu and you bought some gear there, you could do it cheaper. But this is top-notch and well designed. And it's one of those parts of the bus, part of the infrastructure. I don't want to worry about it. Once I'm out in the field, I just want it to work. All right, we'll start off on that side, your right, with the inverter, which is right here. This is what turns our DC power from batteries into AC power for all kinds of stuff. And this inverter will maintain 5,000 watts of output and spike higher on an occasional basis. And it is firmly attached to our cabinet. It is bolted in to this 3/4 inch backboard, ready to go. And there's already cabling going to it to provide it with the power from the batteries. And there's a white wire sneaking around back here that's coming from the inverter. That's our AC feed. There's our 5,000 watts. We will do more cable management in order to protect the cables and to make sure that they're serviceable. You'll notice we got some sort of foam material. It's kind of like pool noodles that we've already put in order to protect the wiring. But we'll do more work on that before this is done. The next thing over is this battery rack. It has room for 4 batteries. I have 2. The reason I have such a big rack is that this one was actually provided by EcoWorthy, who is the battery manufacturer. They didn't charge me for it, but they gave it to me because the original rack I had purchased did not have the mounting hole patterns that their batteries required. And once they realized that there was a challenge there, they said, well, we'll make it good. We'll send you a rack. So that's this rack. And you'll notice when I move it, the whole box up here moves. There are some seriously large bolts that are going through the base of this 3/4 inch plywood that's on the bottom, and also in the back of the rack is attached to the 3/4 inch board on the back. So there are 6 bolts that are firmly holding this thing into place. So it's not going anywhere. Next on the list, our distributor. It's a bidirectional distributor for power going in and out of the system. And you can see that the links here for feeding to the inverter are already in. There's an extra link here that's coming over to a little MPPT solar charger, and we'll talk about that in just a second. This is the links that go to the primary solar charger, and this is going to be connected to 1,100 watts of solar panels.
But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
1.21 gigawatts!
That will be mounted on the roof of the bus. And so that's what this wire is for. Coming up shortly, I will be installing this breaker panel. And this breaker panel goes between the MPPT battery charge controller and the solar panels themselves, so that you can easily disconnect the solar panels from the system if you need to work on the solar panels. All right, Lolly's in here going crazy. What are you doing, dog? Our shunt is in, and our initial data cables have been applied, as well as the data cable that goes from the shunt to the distributor, because there's some smart electronics in each of these, and they need to talk to each other so that the status panel that's going to be in the bus, this beautiful color touchscreen, can give us all kinds of data about what's going on with the power system. So these have started to go into place, including a terminator that needs to be on this, and that's ready to go. Funny story about this box on the left. This is the battery connection box, and we've got the cabling in for the 2 batteries that are going to be in this rack. These are not the original 2. As we worked on the rack, we realized that the orientation and placement wasn't going to be quite right, so I had to buy more 2/0 cable in order to get pieces that are going to be long enough to reach the batteries when they're in the rack. So those have been created. They are all cleaned up and beautiful and ready to go. Those are all in place. Okay, I said I was going to talk about this little tiny MPPT charger up here. This is getting power from the 48 volt system, and then it's going to be hooked up to a 12 volt battery in order to do power for my ham radios and such. And so it's up on the wall. All this stuff is all bolted in. And there's actually a breaker over here for that system so that we can disconnect this charger from the 12 volt battery. All right, and then over here on your left, this red box, this is actually connects up to the power system of the bus. So this is off of the engine. And it's a controllable DC to DC charging system, and it'll allow me to pull some power off of the alternator for the bus, bring it onto these wires, which goes onto the back plane here, and can charge the batteries for the house. So that's in. I'm actually going to add a different alternator to the bus before we get done. The alternator that's on there, the stock alternator, has way too low amperage. There isn't enough amperage there. If I were to enable this guy, even at some of the lower settings, it would be, between the bus itself and what this would pull, it would be more than the alternator could keep up with. So I need a beefier alternator in order to do that. So there's a lot of work has happened here, a lot of the prep work that needs to happen before this can go into the bus. Oh, I didn't talk about this gray box back here. This is our AC distribution panel, and the breakers are in. All of the ground strap is in. All the power control or power connections are in, and the AC input is in on a 50 amp breaker. And then the other breakers will feed off of that. There is, for those of you that know AC panels, this is a sub panel, and so and it's only going to get 120 volts, and it's going to get it through that breaker. So in order to enable both 120 volt rails that are in the box, I built a jumper using 2-gauge wire. And that jumpers the 220 volt rails that are inside the box so that all of the breakers will be hot. I know to most mortals that's just silliness, but if you know electrical at all, that's what I did. And it's got really good ferrules on the end of the 2-gauge wire. 2-gauge is way more than what it needed. Probably could have gotten by with, well, really probably could have gotten by with 10-gauge. But I had some 2-gauge, so I thought, I'm going to put that in there, and it's going to fit the connectors really well, and there'll never be a question about it. So that's that, and it's in. So this box, as far as the preparation before going in the bus, it's in great shape. I'm really happy with it. We will not put the batteries in before we put this in the bus. The batteries weigh 100 pounds each. The box, as it's sitting here, probably weighs about 150 pounds. So we'll take 4 stout folks, one on each corner, to get this moved around and get it loaded into the bus when it's time. So that's the electrical. It's looking really good. I'm really happy with it. The folks at Explorist Life, terrific to deal with, really professionally done. All the packaging, the thought, the care, all the diagrams that they provided, which we've printed out, really great. You zoom in on stuff, you can read a jillion different labels inside of there to order what's what and what gauge and where it's connected. Really pleased with dealing with them, and so this is moving along. So it's a quick update for you. Again, May 31st. If you got any time, man, I'd love to see you out here. I think it's going to be an interesting challenge. I think it may take us a few tries, but once those big giant aluminum sheets are on the side of the bus, that's going to be a big step forward. And we can start doing things like working on the wood infrastructure that's going to go on. We're going to be putting in some strips of wood on the inside of the ribs in order to have something we can bolt to, screw into for all the siding and the cabinets, things like that. We can start putting those in. We can start looking at doing the framing for windows and getting the RV windows installed. It's a big push forward, and it removes a big roadblock that, quite frankly, I'm a little nervous about, because it's going to take a lot of help. And I've tried not to bug people on this project, but this is one time I'm going to ask you, if you can make it, man, that would be so awesome. So that's the update, and I will keep plugging away at stuff. I think maybe I'll do a video in the next few days. It might be drilling out all of the pilot holes for getting ready to put the siding on the side of the bus. Kind of show you what that's about and how we're planning for that. Cool. All right, well listen, if you're building a bus or a van, or maybe you've got a trailer you're reworking or something, and sometimes you feel a little discouraged or overwhelmed, you're not alone. You're not alone. I know exactly where you're coming from. I hope that this video and the other videos that you stumble across all over YouTube are helpful and encouraging. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below. And until next time, take care.